people may, I think a lot of people may know about yoga because it's a common practice, yes, and it's almost everywhere. But I don't think a lot of people know about sound healing. And I think it's quite interesting if you bring that to the table, because I've seen it in Europe, but I haven't really seen it here, or perhaps I've seen it at the end of a yoga session, when the people kind of move around these crystals or these bowls. You should explain it really. What am I doing?
Yeah, you said it right. They are crystal bowls. You can certainly get them in different kinds of materials. They're made of metal, they're made in crystal. I think there's some that are made in like a special kind of glass that is actually really beautiful. It's iridescent. It has like this rainbow kind of glare to it. But yeah, the crystal sound bowl works on a different level because we experience life. There's always vibration around us, whether it's coming from someone's voice, whether it's coming from sound, music. Everyone knows how healing music can be. So it's along that same philosophy that the sound is in a resonant frequency with your body, and it brings you into a state of coherence, which coherence is when your mind is calm and your heart and your mind are in a state of coherence. Because if we're thinking something and we're stressed out, that's going to send chemicals into our brains. That's going to literally send like a chemical reaction of cortisol, which puts us in a state of like, ugh. So when you're in a state of coherence, the chemicals that are being released in your brain are serotonin, dopamine, and I think there's one more, and I don't remember the name for it, but it's like they send like relaxing, your whole body relaxes, your whole nervous system relaxes. So these sound bowls, I have one here.
Oh yeah, sure.
This is what it looks like. They come in all different kinds of sizes. This I think is about 8 inches. I'm sorry, I don't know centimeters. I don't know centimeters. It's like, or a foot. So what happens is the sound, and let me know if you guys can hear it.
Sound bowl healing. Yeah. I don't know if we can hear it. We cannot really hear it. Yeah, it's part of the yoga, but you know what? It doesn't really quite resonate.
Oh, it's not coming through? Okay.
Well, but we know what it is now.
No, puede escuchar the sound bowls.
Okay. Yeah. So.
So these frequencies, so they're tuned to different notes, A, D, E, F, G. Some go like G sharp. If you're familiar with music, like piano notes and things of that nature. So these different notes are correlated with different parts of your body, like different organs. In Chinese medicine, it's there's also a similar practice where you could say different sounds to like stimulate and cleanse different parts of your body. So similarly to that, the sound bowls, when they're played in different notes and frequencies, they're going to open up those parts and like allow them to relax and release, and again bring a person into that state of coherence where it's relaxing. Your mind is like opening up to those places that do you ever feel really relaxed, or when you're in nature you get into that meditative state, but you're not like sleeping, you're fully aware, but it's a relaxed state where you're fully aware?
Perhaps. I really enjoy being in nature. I don't know if I have been in a fully relaxed state. It's quite difficult for me. But I think I understand the concept. Meditating, and you can probably tell us more, is not easy for everyone. A lot of people struggle with meditation. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, and I
have that mentality, because I'm sure a lot of people go into yoga or meditation not really knowing how to do it, and possibly having a bit of a negative approach to it because they think I'm never going to be able to do it. What do you say?
For that, I came across this book that really changed my whole concept with meditation, because same, like I was going to school and it was a little rigid as far as like the stuff that I was learning. It was very like, it has to be this way, and I read this book. It was called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. And his whole experience is just beautiful. But in one part, he goes into meditation and he's talking about meditation. And he's like, the point of meditation is not to like quiet your mind, or it's not to like control your thoughts. The point is to allow your thoughts to be there and allow yourself to observe them without putting any judgment or like shame or like anything onto them. So being at peace with the fact that your mind is busy, being at peace with the fact that you have this inner dialogue, and not get trying to be like, I have to like get this to be quiet, or I have to get this to stop. No, it's just about starting with, oh, I'm noticing that this is my mind, and that's it. And then like building from there, and the more you spend time in that space of just I kind of a detached observer is the way he phrases it. It builds on its own. That kind of focus and perception and way of viewing your own thoughts builds on its own. There's nothing that like you need to do or a person needs to do. So the what I take away from that when I talk about meditation with other people is really the dose of compassion with yourself is probably the greatest medicine. Whether you're meditating, whether you're driving, whether you're doing anything, having that compassion with your own self and your thoughts is the best thing.
Yourself in a way.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's a good one. Having now entered the world of teaching yoga and teaching meditation, teaching sound healing, if you can teach that, I'm not sure. What are the struggles that you find in your group? Do you find any struggles, or is it all a breeze? Are people open to these practices where you're from? Because you're from the States, you're from Argentina. It's a different culture completely. What have you found teaching on both sides of those two countries? What have you found in the population?
Here I'd say everyone, like especially where I live, Scottsdale, everyone's really open to it. There's a lot of different people out there doing it. There's a lot of yoga studios, there's a lot of places to go for sound bowls, and all the sound bowls here I've done, like I feel so okay with it, and I feel really natural in the space, so I feel like calm. But when I started teaching yoga, I did not feel relaxed, and I was really nervous, and like I was so scared of like doing something wrong or messing up or I don't know. And in my first class that I taught, there was two people in the class, and one girl flat out was like, "You keep messing up the steps," and I was just like, "Oh my god!"
You didn't get telling you that you were doing something wrong?
Yes, I was like, I'm so my friend was in the class too. She was like there to support me. So I was like, I can't just stop and cry. I have to keep going. Um so I think just the more comfortable I got with, okay, if I make a mistake, I make a mistake. It's not the end of the world. Because I sometimes like right and left, I'll get confused, because especially when staring at someone else's body but then having to like guide it from my body saying left and right, like I get backwards a lot. So I'm just like, you know what, that's I'm still learning too, and it's a part of it. So
Yeah, that's the way to see it. Do you have any questions so far about her practices? Yoga, sound healing. I think it's clear. It's clear, yes, all good? Okay, we're all good. And I think one of my typical questions to my friends who join the Zoom session is regarding your experience with our culture, or other cultures, because I met most of these people in other countries, or them being in a different country. So with you, we have a rare case of you having lived in Argentina for some time, and perhaps you can navigate us through the things that you found culturally shocking and the things that perhaps you were surprised by in a positive way. And then we're going to perhaps get into what you have compared between Argentina and America. But first, perhaps we can focus on your experience in Argentina. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so thankful that I got to spend as much time as I did there. It was culturally shocking. Like the first time I was with with a with another partner, but we were like with ourselves a lot. I didn't really get into the culture. He wasn't from Argentina. So this time Chris, he lives in Rosario. He has friends there. He was like he's totally a part of it. So I got a really different experience this second time. And I'd honestly say the first thing that I was taken back or that like caused me to be like, whoa, like this is something really different. Two things. The amount of free affection, like the amount of like how people are so kind and like affectionate with each other and like opening and like I saw this man, one man was walking a dog and it was like a cute little puppy. This other man turned around, saw this dog and was like, oh, puppy, like picked this puppy up, and he was like so happy and like expressive about it. I was like, I've never seen like so much affection, open warmth, and just like connectivity. And
Well, perhaps
huh?
physical touch, the way that
Yeah, so Chris even was like, come closer, give me a hug. He says, mi amor, mi amor. And I was like, I was a little uncomfortable. To be very honest, I was a little uncomfortable with the closeness and the warmth and the emotional expression. And I'm pretty emotionally expressive and warm. So it was, that to me was opening. And then the second was how the culture is so open to children and families. And like I took a walk to the mall when I was living by a house, and they had like play things in the mall. Like children are everywhere and they're welcome everywhere and they're invited to places. And it's like here it's like, okay, your kid is here and it's annoying, so can you make them be quiet? Like that's kind of how here is like the culture with children. It's they're not as, I'd say, appreciated as I saw in Argentina.
wow.
And yeah, and I'd say I'd really like to see more of how it is in Argentina with children, like welcome and fun and acceptance and yes, let's run around, let's have a family. Like it's, yeah, here it's go to work and very, you know,
Great.
like
Well, yeah.
individualistic so much.
Okay, I get that. It is very individualistic in the States. I can see that. We are more family oriented. That's very true. That's very true. What about things that you were taken aback in a negative way, if there were any that shocked you or that you were not really happy with? Feel free to tell us.
I did get my phone stolen when I was there, like right out of my back pocket. That was an experience.
You got your that's what she said. Yeah.
Yeah, I was walking, like just walking down the street, and I passed this he was maybe like 16 years old or something, and right as I passed him I was like, he wouldn't. And then as I thought that, he like reached into my back pocket and took my phone and then like ran off. And I'd like tried to like catch him and like pull him back, and then we kind of like wrestled down a hill, and it was, it's definitely not something I would ever do again, but it was an experience.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, I think
Yeah.
you had a positive experience while living in Rosario, which is a lot to say. It's a lot to say. I think foreigners sometimes appreciate being in our country more than we appreciate it ourselves, which happens perhaps in America, I don't know. Did you find appreciating more your country because of all of your experiences abroad, or the opposite?
Definitely I when I came back in November from Argentina, the one thing I did feel a sense of appreciation for, like there were some things in Argentina that were really difficult for me to get, that I was so easy, like that I could get, like Amazon, for example. I know it's something like little, but like I can order things and they could just show up. Like like there's an ease of travel, there's an ease of like going to places, there's just like an ease when it comes to everyday life stuff that I didn't even think about. And then when I was living there, I was like, oh my God, like this is something that it's like I would like to be more appreciative of in my day-to-day life. And so when I came back in November, my perception really shifted a lot in the way that I live life, the way that I appreciate things around me, and recognizing that this isn't available all the time, and especially traveling. Chris is trying to get to his visa to come visit here, and he's not having an easy time. And I love traveling. I have never had a hard time going to another country or going to other places. So that's something else that I didn't experience or was aware that was not the case for every person in the world or every country.
I was thinking about your diet requirements. You just popped.
Oh,
Perhaps you can tell the girls and whoever is listening about being vegetarian in our country compared to being vegetarian in America and being vegetarian in other places you have been to. I think that's an interesting take on traveling, the way we eat.
yeah, I don't eat meat. I eat primarily like all plant-based. And so going to places, I didn't want to eat just salads all the time, because that's not necessarily great for digestion or health. So it was a little bit of a struggle to find places that were I don't know the word for it, but like primarily plant-based. A lot of places here are. Scottsdale is one of the places in Arizona that there's a lot of places like gluten-free, like there's catering to all these different kind of dietary restrictions. Egypt, when I went to Egypt, it was easy there because I was with a group of people, like it was an organization. Guatemala was I probably ate the best there. I was it was called Lake Atitlan, and every day I would just go to the market and grab some fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, make the food, and then cook it. And when I got back, people were like, oh my God, like what happened to you? You're glowing. I was like, I was just eating really good fresh fruit all the time, or fresh vegetables all the time that were grown from the earth itself. The vegetables though so my lifestyle, like I went out to eat less when I was living in Argentina, and I learned how to cook at home more because I had to make my own vegetables, make my own wraps or whatever I wanted. It wasn't as easily available if I wanted to just go to a restaurant, which is what I would have typically done here. I go out to eat a lot here because I can, and because
yeah, we do have a very big culture of just saving and cooking anyway. So it's a bit of a part of who we are. We get together in houses, we invite friends over, and we eat at home. Not that we don't go to restaurants, but I think compared to the US, the ratio is much lower. Did you find that something shocking, something beautiful? What did you think of it?
Again, like, yeah, I think I grew up, my family's Italian. When I was younger, I grew up in like a really big Italian family. My grandparents all migrated from Italy, and then I had all these other relatives, cousins, aunts, uncles, great aunts. And so when I was younger, we would do that same thing. And I remember picnics at home, barbecues, but all that stopped when I was like 7 years old. I moved to Arizona. And so when I was in Argentina, I was living in an apartment on Pellegrini Avenue, right by that big auditorium with the stars.
Yes.
Yes. So it was a beautiful apartment. In my backyard there was like a brick fire stove and a table and a little garden. And yeah, I was a little surprised like how many parties were there, and I've become so accustomed to like, oh, it's someone's birthday, let's have a party, not it's the weekend, let's have a party, and so it was again like that warmth that doesn't have like a tangible like physical like quality, but it only could be experienced. I think is one of my biggest takeaways from spending time in Argentina, is that you know, whatever's happening, it seems like people are always willing to open their hearts and connect with each other, and that value, I guess it's the cultural value of connection and family and emotions and being together that um I don't know that it's as big of a cultural value here, like
It leads me to my next question, which is, what do you like about being American?
um I mean, I guess the ease of travel. There are a lot of beautiful things about living in this country. The country itself is beautiful. Like the Pacific Northwest is coastal ocean, and it has forests, and then here the desert in Arizona, it has its own different kind of beauty, and then Southern California all the way up to Vermont is like a deeper kind of forest. East Coast.
Hablamos, pero wait a minute. Ooh, what happened? Sorry, we lost you.
Oh, no worries.
With the glitch. You were frozen.
Glitch in the matrix.
Yes, Arizona desert, that's where we were.
The different kinds of beauty that is available around here in the United States, the ease of travel, I really appreciate. And as far as like when it comes to like starting a business or doing anything entrepreneurial, it's really easy here. Like there's a lot of support, like a lot of financial support, a lot of like, I'm not gonna say government support, but like we can write things off, and like there's all these little tricks to do to like assist you in starting a business or something. So I would say I appreciate that.
Okay, that's good. I don't know if you want to talk about the things that you don't like. You did say a lot of things in between the lines.
I I don't like how individualistic it is. I don't like how there's kind of like not a healthy work-life balance. I don't like how there's pressure of your worth that's based. I don't know if this is all over the world. I really don't, because I've never like been that, like I couldn't be able to tell, but like the cultural pressure of like your job dictating your worth as a human being, your productivity, like, oh, what did you get done today? That's like, there's a sense of value attached with what you do, what you work. Or I don't like that. I don't like um I think that's the biggest one. Is when I am in Italy or when I'm in Argentina, I don't feel that pressure. And maybe it's because I am American, and it's like eh, when I'm in other places, I'm not in the culture that I don't experience that. But that's the biggest thing that I feel here, that pressure.
Okay, okay, thank you. I'm gonna take a moment to ask the ladies if they have any questions so far. Ladies, do you have any questions so far? They did ask about astrology, but we already talked about it. I'm sorry. I don't know if you have a specific question about astrology. My person. Well, but that's personal. That's not general. She still wants an astrology chart. She's not letting go.
Message me. I'll do it. Just remind me.
Regarding astrology, perhaps on the back of that conversation, I do have a question. Did you always believe in the power of astrology, or is that something that grew when you were older? I think that's my question.
No, I was about 15 years old when my mom like showed me a piece of paper that had my moon sign on it and that had my sun sign, and I was like, what is this? So I started reading it, and then at like 15, 16, 17, you know, I'm like figuring out who I am. So I was like, okay, I don't want to just like read this and say that's who I am. I need to like detach and take a break from this and do my own field research, if you will. So I put it away for a little bit, and I just started watching people, and I just started observing people, and I just started watching like their patterns and how they behave. And then I'd have it in like my mind of like, okay, well that said this, and it's matching up with this. And I didn't have any kind of like influence over it. Like I wasn't like expecting it or like saying, you know, I was kind of like letting information unfold in front of me. And then I started to notice there was like a pattern and similarity. But then I didn't like how it's like some books were like this is like a final, this is like, okay, you're a Cancer, you're a Leo, then this means XYZ. So the more I discovered the nature of like a natal chart, it's like a whole tapestry of inter-exchanging energy, but then also considering the individual mind of a person and how they're animating that energy. So it seems lighter now. There's more tendencies. It's not so like, for me in my head, how I see it, it's not as definitive, but it is a really powerful tool for guidance, which has been instrumental in my life with how I use it and apply it in how I live.
Okay, nice. So Ash actually does this for a living. She does
Yes.
charts. So if you're interested, you can talk to her privately and she can do your chart and, well, get the proper compensation for it because it's your job. Just saying. Ladies, any questions so far? Again, I'm turning to you. Anything? I have more questions, but I want to give you space as well. Nothing? Okay. I think it's time to move on to something that is very central to what we're doing here, which is learning another language. And definitely as an native English speaker, you do have an advantage, which is also a disadvantage because it means that you're not so motivated to learn a second language. Most people who have English as a first language are very lazy to learn another language because, well, they can communicate almost everywhere. Yeah. So what was your experience with Spanish, and were you always interested in learning another language? I guess that's my starting question.
I took a college course in Italian, and I always wanted to learn Italian because my grandma's from Italy. She spoke Italian, but when we were younger, she had a slightly traumatizing experience in Italy. So she's like, no, we're going to be American, like American this, American that. Like she didn't want to necessarily like foster that. So I always wanted to learn Italian because of my roots and my heritage. And in college, I started taking an Italian course. And then I went to Italy and started speaking Italian. And I think I picked it up fast because I was around it when I was younger, around my other family. But I live in Arizona, and Spanish is all around me. There's a lot of Spanish influence. There's a lot of like a lot of signs are in Spanish. There's a lot of like on the phone, there's a lot of Spanish everywhere. And it's never like I'm having difficulties learning Spanish, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just like my brain, or if Italian was just easier because of my family influence. So I have been motivated to learn, and I am seeing the struggle and the vulnerability and the challenge that is coming along with learning another language, not just in the reading, but then taking that and speaking to other people who are fluent in it is, there are mistakes and getting the pronunciation. It's like my face muscles and my tongue, even the way it's like, it's different. It's also different. And so it's like learning like how to like write when you've never written with like the opposite hand. And I'm loving it. I'm loving, like, for as much as I can speak, it's fun to like, when I go shopping or I'm in the grocery store, I can overhear conversations. And honestly, I do it a lot. Like if I hear someone speaking Spanish, I'm like, oh, what are they saying? Oh, I understand their context.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I would ride the subway and I would hear people speaking other languages. I'm like, they could say whatever they want in broad public. If no one understands what they're saying, it's like a secret conversation in public. So I always wanted that like thrill of it, which I don't know why it's fun, but it is.
Yeah, it's happening less and less because people are speaking more and more languages, and people are traveling and moving for work from A to B. So that means that you find Chinese people in wherever, and you find Argentinian people in Germany. So you feel that you could speak Spanish on the subway or on the metro, and suddenly somebody says, "Oh, you're Argentinian too," and you were telling your really needed to go to the bathroom, and somebody says, and you're like, crap. There is a funny anecdote from my mother. She doesn't need to know I'm saying this, but whatever. We were in Italy because I grew up in Italy, and she was going to the sea. because she needed to go to the bathroom. And she was with my aunt. And they were in Italy, but it was in the south, where you didn't really expect people to speak Spanish, or it was in the 90s. Not a lot of Argentinians were living there. And she said to my aunt, move away, move away, I'm doing what I'm doing, basically, cold. And another man who was standing next to her said, oh, you're Argentinian too, right? It's an anecdote. From there you learn, you know, never assume anything. Yeah.
That's so funny.
In regards to Spanish learning, I think personally it's more difficult than English learning, because of how the world is organized and how the grammar of Spanish language is. So I just wanted to say that to give you a little bit of comfort.
Thank you. Thank you.
These ladies
Thank you.
yeah, but you've been learning for a long time. Yeah. You have just started Spanish. It's not the same at all. People learn English from a very young age, so there is a bit of a heads up into the world of learning another language. Whereas when you're learning French, Spanish, Italian, you don't watch every movie in that language. We watch most of the movies and series in English with Spanish subtitles. So there is a bit of advantage there, I think. So,
Yeah.
we live in
And I think
sorry. It's okay. No, you lived in Rosario for 1 month. It's no, more than 1 month. More than 1 month. It's and you speak Spanish and on that time, yes.
no,
No.
I knew a few things from when I spent some time in Mexico and Guatemala, but like very simple, very like, where's the bathroom? Do you have Wi-Fi? How much is this? Can I get the check? Like movement Spanish. Yeah, survival. So when I got to Rosario, that was the Spanish that I went with. So and it was the first time that not being around a lot of people that like it's not a like tourist location, so there wasn't like, I'm used to traveling around, being a primary like a lot of different melting pots of tourism, and to not be in that. So it was, I went through like, it was to not, like, people would be in conversations and laughing, and I felt like a little bit on the outside, like I don't get the joke, or so there was a little bit of a disconnect when I was in social situations, so much that sometimes like I didn't want to go out because I didn't want to be like a burden, like, oh, I don't want them to have to sit there and translate everything for me because like they're having a fun time, like it impacted a little bit of that. But once I started to kind of get like a little bit more and feel comfortable, it changed a little bit.
This is a bit like talking about the B side of immigrating and going abroad. I know a lot of people here, a lot of teenagers and young adults go to Europe in the hopes of making a future and making it. And there is a harsh reality that at the beginning, if you don't handle the language well, you will be isolated. You will perhaps build a community with people who speak your language, but if you want to really integrate into the other culture, you're going to go through a very rough start at the beginning if you don't manage the language. Not everybody is ready for that, and not everybody knows that that will happen.
Yeah.
So you're describing exactly what happened. But did it stop you from wanting to continue being here?
No. Like it was challenging. It was definitely challenging, but like I really want to learn. Like I don't know if it's like something about like being able to do something, like learning something at that level, to me would feel like, not, I don't know if accomplishment is the right word, but like I did it. Like no one else can do that for me. No one else can learn and speak another language for me. Like it's something that my brain changed and I learned how to communicate in a completely new form. There's something in that for me that just like pushes me to keep going and and learn. Maybe I just like talking to people so much. I want to expand my how many people I can talk to.
Yeah. That's a great quality to have to learn another language. Extroverts learn faster than introverts. It's proven. Yeah, it's proven. But it also the ability to tolerate frustration is very important. Maybe
Yeah, and
not
vulnerability.
Yeah,
It's totally vulnerable.
yeah, it's very vulnerable, actually. Ladies, any question about the experience of learning another language that is not English? Any questions about this part of the conversation? No? No. No questions. No questions. Listen, how was it dating someone who didn't speak English?
So it's a double side. It's a double side. Because
yeah. Hey.
On the one hand, it's kind of fun because I can't make any assumptions. Like I have to say, okay, I want to understand what you're saying. Like I can't assume. And the second is like, it kind of keeps it light. Like if I don't understand what he's saying and it's not a big deal, I'm like, okay, like it's like it creates like a sense of ease that sometimes in the past relationships I would get too caught up in like, well, what do you mean? What are you saying? Like too much in my head about things. Like, did I need to make a big deal of such things because of whatever? Because I didn't understand? No. So there's that. The downside of it is that I don't understand his philosophy of life all the time. We haven't gotten to that level where I could hear his natural thoughts and his deeper thoughts about subjects like his life or just be able to listen about his day, like that he can talk or that I could talk freely, like, oh man, I had a really rough day today and I was just hoping to so I guess that more intimate part of communicating isn't present because of the language barrier.
That's
so
very
yeah.
Because it's interesting for me, I don't know if it's interesting for everyone, but the fact that when I developed speaking classes, my chat groups, I always say we're going to go into abstract topics of conversation. And I think I've told you this. If you tackle those abstract topics of conversations, it means that you are in a pseudo advanced language level. Handling that type of conversations about feelings, about politics, religion, things that are very deep and you have to be careful about how expressing them is a real testament of your language level. And it's something that I believe, but I haven't heard anyone saying it from a non-educational perspective. And I think it makes complete sense. When you can kind of level up your personality in your native language and your personality in the foreign language, you made it. You don't need a Cambridge exam for that. You don't need, it's just being the same person in both languages is the goal, is the mecca, I guess. I don't know if you agree. I don't know if you agree. Yeah. But you yourself, and it was pleasant to hear that. Any question about dating life or no? I think one thing that we haven't talked about, and a light question, nothing heavy, is I don't know much about where you live. I don't know much about Arizona, how are people in Arizona in general, how people live, what's the mentality. I don't know anything about Arizona, I just know there is a desert, and that's it, and that you live there. Maybe you can tell us something about that too.
Arizona, let's see. So right off the bat, it's a desert. And by desert, I mean, so it gets about to 120 Fahrenheit. Maybe it's like 30, 40, 50 degrees Celsius or something. So it gets really hot in the summertime. The people here, it is I would say a young adult business area. It used to be more families, but a lot of people from California have been moving here. So it's turned into more of young business type. It's very kind of bougie, kind of like Bougie is people like to get their nails done, people like to get their hair done, people like to have nice clothes, they like to go out like in the clubs and like party. But then there's also like a big nature. There's a lot of people who like natures because there's a lot of hiking, there's a lot of trails, there's a lot of rivers, there's a lot of outdoor things to do during not the summer months. So it's a mix between that. It's there's definitely sometimes a lot of plastic surgery here, kind of like a not quite like a like California, LA, but like a little bit. Yeah.
Boots or no, not with a fake boots.
Yeah. Botox, boobs. So I mean, it's known for that. Like everyone's like, oh, you're in Scottsdale. Other circling towns like Tempe, which is about 10 minutes down, maybe like 15, maybe like 20. South of me is a college town. So there's a lot more like college kids, college activities. There's also pretty a lot of architectural things around here too. So it's really developing as far as let's see, there's like they put a lot into the city for architecture, for like art displays, and the Super Bowl was just here, which is like a big game. It's kind of like it's not the World Cup, but it's like the championship of football, or not soccer, the other kind of football.
We know. Yeah, you have
so yeah, so so it brought a lot of attention here, a lot of focus to Arizona, which I'm happy about, because the woman actually who did the art, she might have been Navajo, which is really great. That's I live right by a reservation. There's an Indian reservation just right across the highway from me.
Play that again.
Indian reservation?
Yeah.
Oh, so because I don't know exactly the history of it, but I just know that the reservation is a land where the Native Americans live. They don't pay taxes, they don't do anything because, of the history of what happened. So I don't know, that's as far as my knowledge goes on that, but they get to go to the schools. So there's a lot of Native American influence here, there's a lot of Mexican influence here, there's a lot of now there's a lot of California influence coming in. Overall, it's a beautiful city. Because we had a lot of rain this winter, so it's the flowers, it's beautiful, like the nature, bougainvillea bushes, flowers everywhere, cactuses. Even the cactuses are blooming like these little flowers. And I'll send you some pictures if you want to share later. I'll go around and take some, because it's just gorgeous. It's really beautiful.
What's the mentality like? Is it more
the mentality?
Traditional? What are people like as a generalization, right?
It's not, I would say it's not traditional. It's, you know what? It's split between the traditional of the past, like here in politics, they call it the Republican and the Democratic, and the Republican tend to be like very conservative. They want certain things done. They're more for like business, and the Democrats are more like liberated, like let's have social things and let's spend money on community. So here it used to be really conservative and really like traditional, but in the past couple of years it's shifted to liberal. Like New York is a liberal state, Oregon is a liberal state, and California is a liberal state, which means they want more community focused spending, community focused things.
Initiatives.
Yeah, and Arizona just recently joined that, but previously, so there's this interesting dynamic between the old traditions and like new upcoming, because I'd say there's a lot of kids about my age, anywhere from like 30 to 45, that don't necessarily have families, that are kind of like, let's live differently, like a lot of vegan, plant-based, yoga, sound bowl meditation. It's very like booming here.
Right. Interesting. Well, thank you. I didn't know anything about that. Yeah, I really didn't. I think to kind of conclude, perhaps you can tell the ladies and whoever is listening about what we're planning to do, what you're planning to do, as in that special meditation, sound bowl, healing, masterclass.
Yes. So
I was,
we've come together.
sorry.
We've come together. Oh. We're going to be doing a sound bowl meditation masterclass. So the sound bowls that you saw right here, I have 7 of them. I'm going to be playing a session of the sound bowls, doing a guided meditation, and talking a little bit about the benefits and how to introduce meditation or a practice into your daily life. Some simple things that you can do, all the way to if you wanted to like develop a deeper practice, if you already have one going. So it's going to be a really beautiful time to go inward, to allow your mind to relax, to receive some healing energy from the sound bowls, and all in English.
Yes, I will share those details when we actually build all of the, let's say, flyers and all of the social media around this event. It's going to be an online paid event because it's what she actually does. I haven't actually built the social media yet, the flyers and the posts, but obviously it's optional. Whoever wants to join, join. Whoever doesn't want to join, doesn't join. It's just another opportunity. And I think this is my goal for my students, is to have interactions that would be as similar to real life. If you were living in the States, if you were living in, I don't know, Australia, and you would like to do yoga, you will have to be in that class in English. If you would have to have a coffee chat with someone, it would need to be in English, which is what we're trying to do here. Obviously, living in a Spanish-speaking country, we don't get that world around us. We don't have to go to the supermarket and speak English. We don't have to meet a colleague and bond and have a chit chat by the water dispenser. And so I'm trying to maximize your opportunities to have those interactions. Because at this level, this is what it's going to do next. Making the experience as near as possible to an authentic. So that's why we're doing this, and I think what she's doing is not only good for the mind, but is also good for your soul. So 21, hey. So Ash, girls, any questions?
Isn't she the same student?
Yes, you are. It's a good question. You're an artist as well.
Yes, I am. So I don't know if you could see it. I just started an embroidery project. Let's see if I can bring it over there. So I just found out well, I didn't just find out. My grandma was an embroiderer, and so I just started. Let me do it this way.
Holy crap! How do you do that? Hi.
So I have I don't have the needles with. Oh, here it is. You can see it.
But she also paints. You can paint too.
I do. I paint. All my. So I'm. Fun fact, I'm feng shuiing my entire house. I just did my living room. So my art studio is a little bit of a mess out here. There's yeah, this is I did this one recently. This is watercolor. This is my like tribute to Arizona. This is called a prickly pear cactus. So I did it to represent like an Arizona woman. Yeah.
I didn't remember that. Good question. Go.
I would like to ask her, when you are painting, for example, you hear music because you speak so much about the body, the vibe, the music, and how do you join those different words? Because you are a citizen of many words.
Question.
So when do you join those?
And how?
Eh?
When and how?
And how? Yes, of course.
When and how. So right now, my so between everything that I do a lot of freelance work. and it gives me a lot of time that I can spend doing my artwork. So during the day, I have a lot of open availability where I can just pretty much do my work. I have this beautiful space, and I just start, like, honestly, this might be a little silly, but so I went to college for art and I learned a lot of like the technique for painting, for charcoal there. And then recently I found on TikTok the embroidery, because I always liked embroidery, but I didn't know like the different kind of stitches to do. So I watched these videos that show you like how to do the stitches, and then it kind of just came naturally. And I had a vision for that. So I just kind of go for it with the embroidery. And then the music that I listen to, is that
I think,
it's
how does everything converge in your world? And I think it's a hard question to answer.
oh, how does it converge? Sometimes chaotically. Yeah.
Chaos sometimes.
At the moment you are painting, you hear music too or not, you are just painting and your mind.
I think it's your method now, which you have.
Yeah, I do listen to music at the same time.
Okay. Okay, good. She does. Any other questions about her life? Perhaps not about anything specific. She did tell us a lot of things. No?
During the day, you have a contact. Do you have a contact with the language, with Spanish language, with another people? You watch television, you listen to music.
Yes, so I'm so thankful, Sophie, to know you, because she helps me out so much. She connected me with the group, a group, English exchange or a Spanish exchange. I'm open to do an exchange and like talk and listen to you speak Spanish and then speak English. I have Netflix, and I watch a lot. I do my best to watch movies in Spanish with subtitles, and a lot of the radio, like when I drive my car, if I'm just like driving around, there's a lot of Spanish radio here, so I put that on. It's just challenging because it's fast, so I'm like trying not to listen to the word so much as like the rhythm of the.
This is a recommendation and a suggestion that I gave to all of my students. Your level in Spanish is different to their level in English, so it's different experiences. But when someone is at an elementary level, you shouldn't tackle big shouldn't tackle big recordings like a movie, a TV series, even a podcast. That's too challenging and you're only going to get frustrated. You have to slowly build that ear, and it's a training. You cannot just go to the gym and train like a person who has been training for 1 year. You need a different approach to it. So I recommend you listening to short YouTube videos, short interactions that you can really focus on for 10 minutes. To be honest, what's your real span of attention as an adult? You cannot go past 20 minutes of doing an effort. You're watching Netflix in your language, whatever, but if you're watching Netflix at your level, you can do it, but elementary, pre-intermediate, it's too much. It's too much. You don't want to go into that level of being focused in things you don't understand. You can handle it for 10 minutes. So look for YouTube videos in Spanish, like short Spanish conversations, things like that.
Oh, okay, good idea.
At your level is better, and it will give you a better sense of achievement. Contrary to frustration all the time because you don't understand anything. You want to think more. It helps with motivation as well. 10 minutes every day is better than one interaction of 60 minutes.
Oh, okay.
100%. If you can do more, but to be realistic. Right?
Yeah.
Ladies, anything else?
You are planning to come back to Argentina?
Yeah, probably not for a little bit because of the season. When I was there, it was fall into winter, and then when I got back here, it was winter, and so I'm gonna wait for winter to pass
Oh.
until I return again.
Then,
I don't want it like 2 years of winter.
right plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the plan.
We practice.
What
We will practice if you come.
Oh, yeah, for sure, she can come here all the time. Well, nothing else from me. Do you have any questions, Ash?
What's a Spanish word? Someone taught me like saying in front of something emphasizes it. Like lindo.
Re lindo. I think that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. So it's just that
Yeah. The challenge is the pronunciation because the word is just R-E. But
okay. Re.
all yours, re, it's not de, it's re, and it changes a lot.
But you speak very well.
Ah, yeah, she and
For
you
Americans,
speak.
I'm practicing the R's.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ash, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for doing this, and we'll share the information about the special masterclass session, and whoever wants to join, we'll send you the details. We have to finalize everything, but we're working on it.
Okay.
Yes. So excited. Thanks so much for inviting me. This was an absolute pleasure. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you all with the masterclass.
Yeah, and keep on doing the language exchanges, so maybe this is useful as a motivation for the rest. Still, you've been a pioneer, but the rest, perhaps you need a little nudge to join in, and Ash, make sure that you post in the group different meetings if you're free, so that other people can join as well, just spontaneous proposals. Are you guys free at this time, how you have been doing?
Perfecto. Sí.
It was really nice.
It was all right, babe, I'll see you soon.
Yes, see you soon. Have a good night and have a great week.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye. See you soon.